As a continent share intelligence, how do we collaborate in order to more or less preempt the activities of terrorists?
It's good neighborliness. Good neighborliness. We should be able to share good intelligence with Burkina Faso. We should be able to share with Ivory Coast. We should be able to share with Togo. I mean, if you look recently about Syria, I mean, I believe most of this things we came at the end were being talked about behind the scene. America has been talking to Russia. Russia is talking to France. Behind the scene, eventually they came and said, look, this is a way to end it. If you don't do it, or even within Ghana, then we must share intelligence between the state agencies. No one should have a monopoly over intelligence. Once we do that, then we can get some results.
Well, your take on intelligence sharing?
I think the Kenyans should have seen the writings on the wall already. Wars do not happen in a vacuum. You create the combustible mix that precipitates war. What they did was they invaded the people. And therefore, if you invade somebody's country, you tell them how to live in their own country, you kill people, and whoever you kill is a son to somebody, a nephew to another person, a husband to somebody. So those people carried out a raft of sporadic attacks against Kenyan security outposts in the border town of Garissa. So I agree with Commander. That was when they should have tightened the noose around their frontiers. So these people wouldn't get the opportunity to come in. But I think that in Ghana, our case is quite peculiar.
How peculiar?
We haven't gotten engaged militarily in any theater of warfare. Not yet.
Do we have to before become a target?
You have to, in most cases, in the case of jihadis, because I've listened to Abubakar Shekau, who is the leader of Boko Haram. It doesn't look like Ghana is on the radar of Boko Haram. But the leader of Al-Shabaab, Ahmed Abdi Godani, since the invasion of Kismayo by Kenya in the so-called operation of Lindenchi, he had always said that they were going to hit back at Kenya in their own backyard. So the palpable threat is as a direct consequence of your military intervention in somebody's internal strife. So for as long as Ghana remains on the periphery of any such military intervention, we will remain safe in our skins. But we are a part of an international community. If the Boko Haram crisis escalates and snowballs out of proportion, certainly the West African sub-region will have to do something about it. But in any case, I think our contribution to any ECOWAS escapade in there should be logistical. We shouldn't have Ghanaian boots on the ground. If you have a Fanti and a Can and Ever, because if you step on toes, look, Nigeria and Ghana, you can run a lot of parallels between the two. There is a crossbreed of people both here and there. There are many Hausa people down here. And indoctrination does not take a person going to a theater of warfare and getting trained. Many of the attacks, there's a new generation of terrorism. You saw the Boston attacks in the United States of America. Those people were in the US. They were white people. But people get indoctrinated over the internet. They don't need to travel to any theater of warfare. And IEDs or improvised explosives devices come cheap nowadays. So as much as possible, we shouldn't militarily involve in this internal strife of northern Nigeria, because if we do, that will give those people a recruitment bonanza against that would give them a lot of support in the eyes of our own local people here. Because when Muslims are here and they are told that the strife is against their religion, certainly I'm a young man, I'm quite enlightened. But if you are pushed to the wall, sometimes your subconscious mind proposes certain negative things.
When a non-contribution of troops will run parallel to your concept of good neighborliness, how can we sit aloof when our neighbor is in trouble and it is most likely that the spillover will get to us? We need to contribute troops. Would that be the way to go?
Well, a classic example is when Ivory Coast was on fire. And there are a lot of Ghanaians who were pushing that armed forces should go and intervene. And I believe the government at that time said, let us wait. And I believe they said it right. For people didn't even know the readiness of our troops, whether they had enough firepower to have gone into Ivory Coast. But when we waited and ECOWAS decided to go, we went in with ECOWAS. And results were achieved. If we had gone there alone to fight on whose behalf, then at the end of the day, one day the government in Ivory Coast changes and Ghana is in trouble. So I believe that it takes time to be able to get to commit troops to go and fight a proxy war. Somebody said he didn't agree with a proxy war, but they should go all the way back to when American soldiers were killed in Somalia and their bodies were dragged on the street. These didn't go down well for the United States. So one can understand it.
Yeah, Bismarck, on the issue of military intervention, this particular enemy is unique.
Okay.
This enemy knows no morality, it respects no borders, and it has an ending pool from which it can recruit, and that is religion. In the case of Cote d'Ivoire, when you fight a war that is based upon nationalistic instincts, perhaps Muslims and Christians could reach across the aisle and come to an agreement. But if you engage in such a war like the one we have in northern Nigeria, the argument, the narrative that will be coming from the state of Borno, Yobe, and Adamawa will be that the fight is against Islam. And therefore, that will galvanize the local Muslim population here against our own government.
Okay.
So I side with Commander. We should revise our notes well. We shouldn't be tempted into taking any expeditious military action in anybody's crisis.
All right, let's do the last batch of messages and then we'll wrap up and check out. This one says that, Bibi, good evening. I would like our national security to stay put to... beg your pardon. Good evening, Bibi. I would like our national security to stay put and water down anything because the world is really growing and it's more of technology. They shouldn't be always chasing cars of delegation of delegates as the only source of security. You have issues with the way our national security operates. This one says, I don't know where well, this is not a political discussion. I mean, we're talking about domestic politics, so we'll put those ones aside for now. This one says the attack was religiously planned. Please tell our Islamic brother that we Christians don't hate them, so they shouldn't stop. They should stop the hate teaching for Christians. We are all God's children. Some monies are being sent regularly to our Muslim friends here in Newtown, Alajo, Nima, and Mamobi from some of these powerful Islamist organizations for education. These monies are not for free. Well, a word to a wise. He's provided some intelligence here.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I think there should be some form of awesome rapprochement between our security forces and the ordinary people, so that the people can, voluntarily give information.
Because this is quite interesting that there are people whose education are being financed by some of these groupings, even in Ghana, and it will certainly not be for free. They may be called upon one day to pay back, to perform. This one says, good evening, Bibi. I'm glad I'm watching this program. Okay, thank you very much for your message. This one says, I'm enjoying the show. Greetings to your panelists. It saddens me anytime some self-centered people try to use Islam for their selfish gains. There is no religion that talks about peace like Islam. What I think we need is to try and disassociate most of these attacks on Islam, because Islam talks a lot on human life. That's coming from Babamu D12 of Boko. This one says that we must stand tall no matter the threat. All right, Bibi, I like this program. Keep the nation on their toes. Amen. From Nungwa brought us that one. We'll have to leave it there. Our time is fast spent. Thank you very much, Iwad, for coming. Ibad Ibrahim is an expert on Middle East and political Islam. Many thanks for joining us this evening.
Thank you so much for having me.
We've also had the presence of Wing Commander Patrick Sogbojo, retired security expert and former jet fighter pilot. Many thanks to you, my brother, and I wish you well.
Coming here too.
May he, the great architect of the universe, keep you and keep me. May his light, which is the truth, continue to shine on us. And in all our endeavors and in all our activities, may we also be mindful of the needs of others. Have a positive mindset. We'll see you tomorrow. Up next is State of the Nation. Up next is Late Night Celebrity Show with Leila Abubakar. We'll see you tomorrow morning on Breakfast TV. Make a date with me sharp 6 tomorrow.